Welcome to Sportpen. We all know that feeling, right? Witnessing pure sports magic. Those moments that just make you say, wow. Today, we're diving headfirst into the career of a player who delivered those moments, well, pretty much constantly. Barry Sanders. We're talking about the pivotal plays, that incredible, relentless determination, and those performances that people still talk about. Our mission, really, is to trace how this phenomenon became such a legend and maybe explore what that elusive quality of greatness actually means in sports.
Yeah, and what's so compelling about Barry Sanders, I think, is that his story isn't just a highlight reel. It's really about the whole journey that forged him. To really get his impact, you kind of have to look at the foundations laid way back early in his life.
Okay, let's unpack that. So our understanding is he grew up in Wichita, Kansas. Big family, one of 11 kids, right? And it sounds like his parents really hammered home the importance of character, of just being a good person. That was the bedrock.
Indeed. That upbringing seems to have instilled this profound humility in him. It's a trait that really defined his career almost as much as his amazing runs. Sources highlight this contrast he felt, with classmates getting allowances for, just being alive, he said. Meanwhile, he and his brothers were learning the value of hard work firsthand, helping their dad with his roofing business, no payment expected. That's a pretty powerful early lesson.
Right. It's almost ironic, then, that this future offensive superstar started his high school career playing defense. He was a defensive back, even a second-string wingback for a bit. It wasn't until, the fourth game of his senior year that his coach saw that running back potential.
Yeah, and from there, it sounds like the floodgates just opened, led to what's been called one of the greatest football years from in high school, and that scholarship to Oklahoma State. He clearly felt a lot of gratitude towards his high school coach, Coach Burkholder, for his influence and just his love of coaching.
And you mentioned family influence. We can't overlook his mother, surely.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, raising 11 children, being an honor student, a nurse, working, it's almost unbelievable dedication. That kind of example, you have to assume, profoundly shaped his perspective.
The family's commitment to church on Sundays, too, that probably points to a strong grounding in shared values,
Definitely. So then he gets to the college stage, Oklahoma State, and that's where that rivalry with Thurman Thomas really kicked off.
Yes, another legend. And then, of course, there was Barry's 1988 season. People say it wasn't just good, it was something else entirely.
Completely different realm, yeah. And one of those interesting little footnotes from that time is the story about Oklahoma University, OU, not offering him a scholarship. There's speculation, maybe some tapes went missing, maybe OU was just loaded at running back then, who knows?
It's one of those great college football what-ifs, isn't it?
It really is.
And you can't mention Oklahoma football back then without bringing up the old joke about Coach Barry Switzer finding recruits on police scanners. Adds a bit of flavor to that rivalry.
Right. Well, fast forward to the 1989 NFL Draft. Detroit Lions take Barry third overall. And what seems notable is that the Lions, maybe they just recognized his unique talent. They essentially let him do his thing, gave him that freedom.
And boy, did they get an immediate return on that. NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, right off the bat. I remember the Lions commentator Jim Brandstatter calling him the absolute X factor.
Yeah.
Someone who could flip a game script completely.
Yeah, take a team from despair to joy in just one carry. That says a lot about his impact from day one.
So his legacy really starts building from there.
Exactly. The accolades pile up. NFL Offensive Player of the Year in 1994. Then, 1997, he joins that very, very exclusive club, rushing for over 2,000 yards in a single season. Only the third player ever at that point.
Which naturally just fuels that eternal debate, doesn't it? Is Barry Sanders the GOAT?
Yeah.
The greatest running back ever? You see it all the time online. People arguing passionately for him or for Jim Brown, Walter Payton.
Emmitt Smith, Adrian Peterson. This goes on. But when you look at the core arguments for Sanders, a really common theme is the context. The sheer difficulty of putting up those numbers with the Lions teams he was on. Many point to, an offensive line that wasn't always great, inconsistent quarterback play sometimes.
Right. They contrast it with Emmitt Smith having that dominant Cowboys offensive line, the Great Wall of Dallas.
Precisely. The perception is that Sanders had to generate so much yardage through just sheer individual brilliance, making people miss.
Oh, absolutely. There was that feeling watching him, like you said, making defenders look almost silly, that Benny Hill comparison you sometimes hear. But then there's that other statistic, that kind of mind-bending one. He holds the record for the most negative yardage plays, even though he retired with the second most rushing yards ever at the time. How does that even work?
Well, some argue that reflects the situation, right? That maybe he had to be so improvisational behind that line, taking risks, dancing around, trying to turn nothing into something huge, which sometimes meant losing yards.
That makes sense. Trying to create those explosive plays could backfire occasionally.
And it sparks that other discussion point you see online, anecdotal stuff, mostly, suggesting he was often pulled out in short yardage or goal line situations. Some interpret that as maybe a specific area where his game wasn't quite like some other all-time greats. A potential weakness, perhaps.
It's all part of the puzzle, and it leads to those fun, hypothetical debates. What if Barry had played for the 90s 49ers? Or the Cowboys? Or the Bills?
Oh, yeah, the numbers he might have put up. It's staggering to even think about.
So he's at the peak, putting up these incredible seasons.
And then, bam, the retirement announcement. Totally unexpected. Sent shockwaves, really.
The reaction was huge, right? Disbelief, maybe even some anger from fans, especially since he was so close to Walter Payton's all-time rushing record.
Exactly. People couldn't understand walking away then.
But his response was just so Barry Sanders. He basically said chasing records, being the all-time touchdown leader, none of that stuff was ever important to him.
Yeah, it just wasn't his motivation. Really underscores that intrinsic drive, that internal compass he had.
And that character, that humility, it was front and center again at his Hall of Fame induction in 2004.
That's right. He chose his father to introduce him, which just powerfully shows the lasting influence of his family, those values they instilled.
And his dad's introduction, introducing his own son as the third greatest running back ever, deferring to Jim Brown first.
Incredible humility, running in the family, apparently.
And Barry's speech itself, it wasn't about his stats or his highlights. It was all thank yous, thanking everyone who helped him get there.
It's striking how consistently that humility comes up. It seems like the defining trait stemming right from that upbringing we talked about. There's even that story about his father complimenting him by saying he was accused of being too much like my mom. A sort of backhanded praise, maybe.
Wow, sounds like a dad thing to say. It's admirable, too, seeing his continued involvement now with the Detroit Lions Legends group, giving back to the community.
Yeah, even with busy post-football lives, that commitment is there, speaks volumes.
And it kind of makes you think about mindset, that whole fixed mindset versus growth mindset idea. Believing your abilities are static versus believing you can develop them through effort. Barry's constant innovation on the field, that relentless drive, it really feels like a growth mindset in action.
That's a great point. And also his ability to just sort of adjust, to accept situations and people as they are, focusing on his principles but adapting to resolve things harmoniously. That's a mature skill.
Which leads to another interesting connection people make, linking athletic traits to leadership in other fields, like the workplace.
Right. Our sources mention that. Attributes common in successful athletes. Being achievement-oriented, team-focused, resilient.
Strong communicators, good time managers.
Exactly. All things valuable for leadership anywhere.
So when we pull it all together, those electrifying moments, that unwavering determination, those performances.
What emerges is a career built not just on incredible talent, which he obviously had in spades, but on this solid foundation of deeply held values and that profound humility. Barry Sanders didn't just rewrite record books. He kind of redefined what it meant to be a sports legend.
Exactly. He carved his own totally unique, indelible mark on football history. And it leaves you with a final thought to chew on. Consider how maybe the unique challenges, the limitations Barry Sanders faced, the team context, maybe even the negative plays could have paradoxically contributed to his iconic status, to the enduring fascination we still have with his career.
That's a really compelling point to ponder.
Thanks for listening to Sportpen.